From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, the governor of the central bank, Olayemi Cardoso, and the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, say the country is weathering the global economic shocks despite the Middle East crisis. Bauchi state chapters of the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress failed to reach an agreement on conditions for a possible political realignment. Development commissions unveiled draft national policy in alignment with the federal government's Renewed Hope agenda. Document to undergo further stakeholder review before presentation to FEC for approval. An Iran Security Council says it's determined to control the Strait of Hormuz until the end of the war, calls the continuous U.S. blockade of Iranian ports a breach of the ceasefire. On sports news tonight, Morocco frees 3 Senegalese fans after serving 3 months of violence at the Africa Cup of Nations final in Rabat. The Central Bank of Nigeria says the country is weathering global economic shocks better than expected thanks to ongoing reforms. Briefing journalists in Washington, D.C. after the IMF World Bank spring meetings, the governor of the Apex Bank, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, and the Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edu, cited calmer foreign exchange markets, improved reserves, and a major banking sector shake-up as key wins. Our correspondent, Sarah Achimugu, has this report.
A key outcome for Nigeria at the World Bank IMF spring meetings is that the country's tough reforms are working. There's, however, a warning for the government to keep an eye on the Middle East crisis because the shocks may threaten the gains. At this meeting led by the Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edu, the central bank governor and officials from the finance sector, journalists are briefed on the next steps for the government. The federal government admits that the world is facing tight financing, slow growth, and new risk due to the Middle East crisis, but Nigeria's exposure has been limited.
Nigeria's experience indicates that spillover effects have been relatively contained, reflecting positive reform outcomes, including exchange rate stability, stronger reserve buffers, and an enhanced monetary policy framework.
For some countries, it meant shortages, it meant queues, it meant rationing, it meant price controls, all sorts. And in Nigeria, it is the markets that regulated the shock. So it was the pricing mechanism, pricing of petroleum products, pricing of foreign exchange or action or transactions in that market that regulated what happened. That shows strength, that shows resilience. There are no petrol fields in Nigeria.
In March, Nigeria wrapped up its banking sector recapitalization, pulling in 4.6 trillion naira in fresh capital.
Okay, so I'll focus on the fiscal.
The exercise attracted diversified participation, 72.5% domestic and 27.4% foreign, underscoring both international confidence and domestic ownership. 33 banks met revised capital requirements with adequacy ratio above basic benchmarks. This is in addition to policies by the government to build buffers against the recent economic shocks.
These achievements reflect our resolve to maintain a sound, well-capitalized, and competitive financial system capable of supporting Nigeria's development ambitions in a volatile global environment.
In agriculture, there is I think through the Bank of Agriculture, an initiative to help farmers with aspects of ensuring that they can plant for the coming season, whether it's the cost of fertilizer or cost of inputs. There is an initiative that is being signed off on, and I think will be implemented through the agricultural authorities, including the Bank of Agriculture.
The federal government is confident that both monetary and fiscal policies will rebound in the nation's economy in spite of the ripple effects of the Middle East war. From Washington, D.C., Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
Back home, political activities begin to gather momentum ahead of the 2027 general elections. In Bauchi State, a federal lawmaker, Senator Shehu Umar, has formally declared his intention to contest in the governorship election under the All Progressives Congress APC. The declaration took place in Magama Toro local government area amid show of support from his supporters.
The ancient town of Magama in Toro local government area is a hub of political excitement as supporters troop out to witness the declaration of Senator Shehu Umar for the Bauchi governorship seat. Chanting solidarity songs and waving placards, party members and supporters expressed their backing for Senator Shehu Umar.
APC as a party is used to winning, and it will continue to win. By God's grace, APC will form the next government in Bauchi State come 2027.
Stakeholders validate the quality of federal lawmaker, urging party members to rally behind him ahead of the primaries.
We have endorsed Shehu Buba as our governorship aspirant from our constituency with prayers. All we know is that Shehu Buba is a person fit to govern Bauchi State.
We are calling for the credible stakeholders to adopt the Katu primary election so that they will see who is Shehu Buba in Bauchi State. We are here to endorse, and we endorse Shehu Buba as our candidate of APC 2027 by God's grace, inshallah.
Formally declaring his intention, Senator Shehu Buba highlights his achievements and vision for the state.
This journey is about inclusive growth, equitable development, transparent governance, peaceful coexistence, youth empowerment, technology-driven education, and above all, the security and welfare of our people. The APC remains the most reliable political vehicle for this mission. I am confident that if entrusted with a high responsibility in 2027, we shall deliver unprecedented dividends of democracy to every household in Bauchi State.
The declaration marks an early entry into what is expected to be a highly competitive governorship race in Bauchi State as political realignments begin to take shape.
In Bauchi State, the People's Democratic Party has formally ended talks with the All Progressives Congress after failing to reach an agreement on the conditions for possible political realignment. The PDP state chairman, Mr. Samaila Buga, made the announcement today at a media briefing held at the Bauchi State PDP Secretariat. He said that the APC failed to meet the party's conditions despite engagements between Governor Bala Mohammed and party officials, as well as discussions involving the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and 3 former governors.
After extensive consultations, with PDP stakeholders and careful considerations, it became clear that the conditions collectively advanced for such political alignment were not accepted by the APC leadership. In light of this, we want to announce that the discussions has not yielded a conclusive outcome and is hereby or are hereby formally discontinued. Our 60-40 sharing formula. This one does not emanate only from Bauchi State. Everywhere in the country where there was defection, this sharing formula was adopted. Some were even 70-30, because it will be wrong of a governor coming with a government from council to himself without having any control of the party.
In the meantime, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by Abdurrahman Mohammed, has described reports of an appeal to challenge the suspension of the party's National Secretary, Samuel Anyanwu, as misleading and unfounded. In a statement, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Jungudu Mohammed, stated that although Mr. Anyanwu filed an appeal, the process is unrelated to any suspension nor any other disciplinary measure. According to the statement, the decision of the Tom Ikimi Disciplinary Committee, which recommended the suspension of Mr. Anyanwu, was never ratified by any party convention. The PDP has been in a prolonged and recurring leadership crisis since 2015, a development that recently split the party and has gone to the Supreme Court, where both parties are awaiting the verdict of the Apex Court. Staying with politics, residents in the Obafemi-Owode local government area of Ogun Central Senatorial District have called for the zoning of the senatorial seat to Ofada Ward in 2027 in the interest of justice and equity. They made a call in Mowe during the consultation and declaration of interest by one of the aspirants for the senatorial seat, Mr. Adebola Shofela. While seeking their support and understanding, he promised quality representation hinged on accountability and purposeful leadership.
It is important that whoever represents us must be sought that we'll be able to leverage on his network, his relationship, his position, to be able to bring impact and development to the senatorial district. It is a fact that it's been a while, in fact, more than almost 3 decades that the last senator came from Obafemi-Owode. While I'm not justifying that, I believe that with the support of the party, the leaders of the party, the people of Ogun Central and Ogun State, I'm a good candidate. I believe that God has also given the opportunity to serve in some capacities before. And my intention is to represent the good people of Ogun Central in the Senate come year 2027.
Meanwhile, the senator representing Delta North, Ned Nwoko, has reiterated his backing for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term bid, while also announcing his plan to seek re-election to the Senate on the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC. Speaking briefly at the Asaba International Airport en route to an official engagement, the lawmaker said his performance in office and consistent advocacy for the Anyoma people have strengthened his cause for another term in the upper legislative chamber.
The president is my president. I joined him before anybody else because I believe in him. He's doing very well nationally. He'll be re-elected, of course. And we are working together at every level. This is not the time to go back to the politics of olden days. This is time for them to build on what I have established, which is working for the people. understanding what the people need. For example, I've been pushing for the step down at by power plant. We must have light in Anoma land. Yes. We must have water. Awachuku Dam must be completed. We must have pipe-borne water, not just having boreholes everywhere. We must have the coastal roads from Asaba, Oko, all the way to Abo, and then of course towards the south of Delta.
In part two, after the break, development commissions unveil draft national policy in alignment with federal government's renewed hope agenda. Document to undergo further stakeholder review before presentation to FEC for approval. That's in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The governor of the central bank, Olayemi Cardoso, and the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, say the country is weathering the economic shocks despite the Middle East crisis. Bauchi state chapters of the People's Democratic Party and All Progressives Congress failed to reach an agreement on conditions for a possible political realignment. Development commissions unveil draft national policy in alignment with federal government's renewed hope agenda. Document to undergo further stakeholder review before presentation to FEC for approval. And Iran's Security Council says it is determined to control the Strait of Hormuz until the end of the war. Calls the continuous U.S. blockade on Iranian ports a breach of the ceasefire. A leadership dispute is brewing within the Ijaw National Congress after a presidential election was conducted despite opposition from the group's highest council of traditional rulers and elders in Bayelsa State. The Elders Forum, known as the NCITRE, had earlier called for a suspension of the electoral process, citing unresolved dispute and asking that due process be followed before any election is held. The Electoral Committee proceeded with the election during the Congress convention, eventually declaring a winner.
Tension is mounting within the Ijaw National Congress following a presidential election conducted in defiance of its apex body, the National Council of Ijaw Traditional Rulers and Elders, known as NCITRE. Before the election took place, Bayelsa State Governor Duya Diri addressed stakeholders, calling for a pause in the process to allow for further consultation.
Please, let us not damage the name of the Ijaw ethnic nationality. When we find ourselves coming up to aspire for offices in INC, let us not bring in the mentality of the Nigerian electoral system that divides people more than bringing them together. The mentality of rigging elections. Mr. President, I want to believe that these elections will be open, transparent, free, and fair, so that at the end of the day, whoever that loses will stand tall to congratulate those who have won.
Good morning, people.
Despite that appeal, the Electoral Committee proceeded. The decision has since been rejected by several stakeholders, including presidential aspirant Timi Ogoriba, who insists the process lacked legitimacy.
My position, NCITRE's pronouncement is ongoing, and it is sacrosanct, and it behoves on every Ijaw patriot to look unto NCITRE while allowing the 7-man committee to conclude the assignment for NCITRE to act upon. I am calling on all Ijaw true patriots to condemn this display of anomy and rise to stand behind NCITRE and ensure that a proper INC election is scheduled and conducted after the resolutions of the disputes.
Now, stakeholders are calling for urgent dialogue, strict adherence to constitutional processes, and respect for the authority of the Congress's established institutions.
The federal government has set a new course for regional growth following a two-day sectorial retreat convened by the Ministry of Regional Development in Edo State. The retreat, themed Generating Fresh Ideas to Unlock the Potential of the Regions, brought together the leadership of all 7 regional development commissions, National Assembly members, development partners, as well as senior government officials. Our correspondent, Jessica Ologusere, has this report.
Gathered here at this leadership retreat are representatives of the regional development commissions. One after the other, speakers address participants on the need to collaborate to transform their regions. Speakers from the oldest commissions also share their experiences.
Many stakeholders in the region became so interested in the activities of NDDC, and it became highly political. Where the first governing board of the NDDC remained the only governing board that had finished 4 years tenure. After then, so much political instability in NDDC. Not instability because those who were there were not performing, but those who were outside, everybody wants to be in.
The first problem we had when we started, after the inauguration, in fact, at that time, even there is no clean copy of the bill. We were just given a copy of Mr. President's speech to go and start a commission. Imagine that.
The Director of Planning and Research, Regional Development Ministry, presented the communique, which captures additional resolutions and key action points agreed at the retreat.
The need for all the commissions to invest in facilities that will generate revenue beyond statutory allocation so as not to rely on government alone to fund development efforts. 12. The commissions were started to build institutional capacity in order to access available international funds and opportunities, align project proposals with SDG-linked outcomes and climate resilient frameworks.
The Minister of Regional Development hinted that steps will be taken to codify the Commission's Establishment Acts, as suggested, while advising the various commissions to get familiar with the establishment laws.
You should know that now that you started to get some funding, you must be prepared to comply with the details and the provisions of the Act. Quarterly reports, you are expected at the end of every quarter to report the activities of your commission.
A draft national policy on regional development aligned with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda was unveiled during the retreat. It will undergo further stakeholder review before presentation to the Federal Executive Council for approval. The minister also says the leadership of the various commissions, excluding the NDDC, will sign a performance bond to ensure effective service delivery and accountability. Jessica Oluguse, Channels Television News.
The Nigeria Data Protection Commission has commenced a training and certification program for data protection officers as concerns grow over data security and compliance in the nation's expanding digital economy. The Commission says the initiative is crucial to protecting sensitive information, preventing data breaches, and building trust in digital systems. Our correspondent, Sunes Nathaniel, has this report.
A conference that was in 2003 or so, underneath that.
As Nigeria's digital footprint continues to grow, so too do concerns over how personal and institutional data are handled and protected. For regulators, the risk is clear. Without adequate safeguards, data breaches and misuse could undermine public confidence and disrupt critical systems.
Your company or what you do.
In response, the Nigeria Data Protection Commission has launched a training and certification program for data protection officers.
Or like our social media platforms,
The program brings together participants from the public and private sectors with a focus on building a workforce capable of safeguarding sensitive data and enforcing compliance.
What we keep preaching now is that this is a developmental regulation that will make a positive impact in whatever you are doing, the kind of service you are offering your organization. Some of them feel regulators are always there to stifle development, not knowing that the private ecosystem is different. What we're trying to do is to add value to what they are doing, their various organizations, to ensure that there is trust, there is confidence that will drive traction.
The Commission says the initiative is timely as demands for data protection expertise continues to rise across sectors, including finance, healthcare, and government services.
System and be sure to
participants are expected to acquire practical skills to mitigate risks, prevent breaches, and ensure compliance within the Nigerian Data Protection Act.
It's going to be a good opportunity to see that Nigeria takes data protection to a higher level, considering that the future is going to consist a lot of technologies. There are a lot of emerging technologies, artificial intelligence for one, and giving youth the opportunity to prepare themselves.
Officials note that beyond compliance, the program will create employment opportunities and support the development of a more secure digital economy.
We're going to start with basic awareness, and we're going to take them through the general checklist that everyone follows globally, the principles of data protection, the rights, and we're also going to take them through what they need to know practice-based, how to attend to data subject access requests, how to follow legal basis when you're collecting data.
The NDPC says that strengthening data protection capacity is essential to safeguarding national digital infrastructure and maintaining trust in an increasingly data-driven society. Sunest Nathaniel, Channels Television News.
The Yakubu Gowon University, formerly known as the University of Abuja, has held its combined 29th and 30th Convocation ceremony, graduating 17,200 students in master's, postgraduate diploma and doctoral degrees. Speaking at the ceremony, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Akim Fawaimi, charged the graduates to contribute meaningfully to national development and be proud ambassadors of the institution. While the Pro-Chancellor, Mr. Olariwaju Tejuoso, says the institution will take full ownership of its land and will not tolerate any form of encroachment.
It's a moment of fulfillment for these graduates as years of academic pursuit comes to an end at the Convocation Arena of the Yakubu Gowon University, formerly known as the University of Abuja.
I present the following graduating students.
The combined ceremony, which brings together two academic sessions, features the award of postgraduate diplomas, master's and doctoral degrees.
Today, we celebrate another distinguished group of graduates. We have worked hard, remained focused, and reached this important milestone. As we step into the world, can we retain the spirit of excellence and the legacy of the name this university now bears?
The university authorities say the decision to hold a joint convocation reflects the institution's resolve to sustain academic excellence despite challenges. The management of the institution used the opportunity to warn against any attempts to encroach on its land.
The strength of any university lies in its capacity to respond to challenges with clarity and determination. We are encouraged by our resilience and by the partnership, support, and understanding of the government and the other stakeholders, which gives us confidence that we shall not be defeated by these challenges.
The university land is not idle land. It is not free land. It is land held in trust for education, research, and national development. Let me therefore state clearly, the Yakubu Gowon University will take full charge of its land and ensure its proper development and protection. All forms of encroachment, illegal occupation, and unauthorized use of university land will no longer be tolerated.
For the graduating students, the ceremony marks both an end and a beginning.
One of the things that before this country is insecurity, and that was why I based my thesis on community policing and national security. So I think I'm now fully prepared, and I can boldly say to you, from what I've gathered from Abuja Leadership Center, University of Abuja, I'm ready.
I plan to use it to bless humanity, the knowledge that I have garnered from the studies here. University of Abuja is a good school.
Highlight Highlight of the ceremony is the conferment of honorary doctorate degrees on 3 distinguished personalities. Beyond the celebration, the Yakubu Gowon University says it remains committed to producing graduates who will drive innovation and national development in Nigeria. From Abuja, Victoria Longjourn, Channels Television News.
The Catholic Mission is leading an advocacy for more investment in vocational education to address youth unemployment and insecurity in the country. Speaking at a conference in Abuja, former Archbishop of the Abuja Diocese, John Cardinal Onayekon, asked the federal government to strengthen collaboration with individuals and religious organizations that promote vocational education for young people.
Thank you, Father Ricardo.
It is not the usual religious gathering. Rather, it is a dialogue among academics and clerics, and the crux is youth development through vocational education. The subject of the day is transforming youth, transforming nations, the Salesian blueprint for human and national development.
In teaching the youth how to produce.
The keynote speaker underscores the importance of vocational education for addressing societal challenges.
Our youth, in despair, no fault of theirs, okay, in despair, feel that the only solution for them is to leave this country and to go to another country in which, unknown to them, that country is developed because of people like him that are what? Vocationally trained in the same manner that the solution is doing. There has to be a conscious effort to say that we are not going to be a consumer-based nation, but we are going to be what? A production-based nation. Why? Not because of the obvious reasons, but because we need to provide jobs for the youth we have behind us. 850. Now that 850, they are the ones in our center.
The Salesian Mission, which is a Catholic initiative, has presence in 133 countries, including Nigeria, collaborating with government to promote youth empowerment to address unemployment.
The way to go is skills. Some people will say skills, not degree. The degree is important, but the skills gives you the job immediately. If I train 10 people on skills and another 10 graduates on theory, the 10 on skills find job immediately, and this is awesome. So that is why we are here to talk more about it, to encourage people and to see how we can partner with strategic stakeholders to get this done.
Whether you're a graduate or even if you have a master's degree, go and learn a skill. Go and learn a skill. A person who has a skill will never be killed by hunger. It's not possible, because you can always do something with your hand and be able to sustain yourself and live.
It's really addressing security, of course. If there are less young people who are loafing around doing nothing, the government should be ready to put money in the efforts of non-government agencies that are ready to do the work that government should be doing, but they don't have the time able to do.
With over 14 operational centers and over 800 trainees in Nigeria, the mission is hoping to strengthen existing partnerships and empower more youth with vocational skills.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria Exchange Limited extends its trading hours from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. with effect from April 27th for better investor participation and improved liquidity in the capital market. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.
There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
Whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
in London or anywhere in the world,
or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day.
Welcome back. The Nigerian Medical Association in Lagos State, in collaboration with the Association of Nigerian Private Medical Practitioners, took to the streets for a peaceful protest to strongly condemn the ongoing harassment of doctors by government agencies, police, as well as unfair trials on social media. They moved from the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital to the Lagos High Court and stopped at the police command headquarters and met with the DPO of Ikeja Command. The Lagos State Chairman of the NMA, Dr. Babajide Said, says the level of harassment from different bodies is affecting doctors psychologically.
We are here to tell the public our grievances. We are not happy because doctors are being harassed, which is really affecting us psychologically and mentally. That's why we are here, to tell the agency of government, especially the police, the farmer in Lagos State, to stop the continuous, unproductive, unwarranted harassment of doctors in Lagos State, Nigeria. And also to the social media people that what they normally use is to castigate doctor without even know the content what really happened. And these are the media we're also using to tell the media to use the investigative journalism that we are known for before bringing out any cases of alleged medical negligence.
There is something happening in our society that we think poses potent danger to the medical profession and by extension the society. And this is why we are gathered today, to draw attention of the public that there is a need for everybody to rise to the occasion to stop the trajectory so that we don't all get consumed. What's been happening in recent time is that doctors are hounded at will, adopted from their practices, harassed, intimidated, maltreated, and imprisoned at will for no just cause.
The Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities have given the federal government till end of this month to finalize the ongoing negotiations with them or risk a nationwide industrial action. The university workers gave the first ultimatum at the National Executive Council meeting of the association in Abuja. The president of the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities, Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim, said that the union is yet to come to any agreement with the government, even though they have met several times.
NEC expressed serious concerns over attempts in the public domain to portray the process as concluded, particularly through the circulation of a letter suggesting the approval of a 30% increase on allowances when discussions are still in progress and no final agreements have been signed by both parties. NEC maintained that SANU will not accept any outcome that falls below the negotiated understanding reached in the course of the renegotiation process. Consequently, NEC in session reaffirms its position by the Joint Action Committee of NASU and SANU on the final ultimatum given to the federal government that from the 1st of April to the 30th of April will be the dates within which we will expect a conclusion of the renegotiation process, and that such document must be signed on or before that date. And should the federal government fail to conclude the renegotiation process and sign the agreement within the stated period, SANU will have no other alternative but to, along with NASU, commence an indefinite, comprehensive and total industrial action, which will also involve all other tertiary institution workers in the non-teaching cadre.
Security matters now. Suspected bandits have reportedly attacked the palace of a traditional ruler in Olayinka community in Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State and abducted the monarch. Unconfirmed reports had it that the wife of the traditional ruler and one other person were also kidnapped, while the State Police Command said that only the monarch was abducted. The State Commissioner of Police, Adekimi Ojo, who confirmed this, said that the bandits carted away a large sum of money from the palace. The police boss added that the traditional ruler had brought the money home on Friday, while the heavily armed attackers stormed the palace in the early hours of this morning. This latest abduction marks the third case of a traditional ruler being kidnapped in Kwara South within a year. As part of efforts to curb criminality within Katsina metropolis, the State Police Command has recorded a breakthrough with the arrest of 26 suspected social miscreants. In a statement to journalists, police spokesman DSP Abubakar Sadiq confirmed that the intelligence-led operation conducted by the officer in charge of SWAT targeted hideouts, criminal hideouts across the city. It added that the 26 suspects are allegedly involved in various illegal activities, including gang membership, participation in unlawful societies, and public nuisance. And a lot of weapons were recovered from them. While the State Police Commissioner, CP Ali Umar Fage, has reiterated the command's resolve to sustain the ongoing onslaught against all forms of crime across the state. Company news now. Telecom infrastructure company IHS Nigeria is marking 1 year of collaborating with the Kwara State government to operate the Ilorin Innovation Hub. The state government had signed a memorandum of understanding with the company to nurture startups, drive technological advancement, and create a digital economy in the state. Tagged Demo Day 1.0, the program features 19 startups, mostly youth-driven, demonstrating how their ideas can drive meaningful development in the country.
This is the Ilorin Innovation Hub, built by IHS Nigeria in partnership with the Kwara State government. Inside the hall are industry experts in telecommunications and related fields, gathered to witness the presentations by startups as part of activities to mark the first anniversary of operating the hub.
We see innovation and technology as one of the biggest tools that will drive our country forward to where it needs to be.
At IHS Nigeria, we understand that innovation cannot thrive in isolation. Therefore, it requires a solid foundation, one built on reliable infrastructure, sustainable investment, and human capacity.
Following the welcome address, 19 startups take turns to pitch their products and services, highlighting their innovation and market potential.
Right now, you can still call anybody from right here.
There was also a fireside chat where the Kwara State government explains the rationale for establishing the Ilorin Innovation Hub.
Not a case where, when you think about technology, you just don't think Lagos first, but you think Kwara first. You think about Ilorin, startups are able to gestate, youth are able to look beyond what they currently see and have access to global resources.
In their review of doing business with the Kwara State government, officials of IHS Nigeria explain how the partnership is growing the digital economy of the state.
And the ones that have bright ideas, to help them to reimagine those ideas, put them in proper context so that they can have the most valuable product to go to market with.
Our commitment is to support them to a stage where they can scale, bring many of their ideas to life, and of course see how we can solve many of the problems that we are encountering in the society.
At the end of the program, Demo Day 1.0, organized to showcase 19 high-growth startups and connect them with investors, is considered a success by participants and stakeholders.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim, is reiterating the federal government's commitment to the ongoing efforts to foster gender-inclusive growth within the corporate landscape, especially in the oil and gas sector. The minister made the revelation at the NNPC She Fix 2.0 second edition of the retail outlet of the state-owned oil company's flagship empowerment program for women in technical fields in Abuja.
The NNPC She Fix 2.0 is the second edition of NNPC Retail Limited's flagship empowerment program for women in technical fields. With a theme, Driving Diversity, Powering Progress, the event has in attendance the Minister of Women Affairs, the Executive Vice President, Business Services at NNPC Limited, Managing Directors, among other stakeholders. Spearheaded by NNPC Retail Limited, the program featured free car diagnostics, exhibitions, and technical training sessions.
Across our stations, operations, and corporate functions, women play a critical role in driving efficiency, enhancing customer experience, and strengthening our overall business performance. Delivery of this event's keynote address.
In her keynote address, the Executive Vice President, Business Services at NNPC Limited underscores the need to drive the impact of women in creating sustainable value in the oil and gas industry.
That belief drives a commitment to inclusive leadership and enterprise transformation. It's why we build the Women in Energy in NNPC, the WIN Women that we built this year. And we're going to see that evolve within the oil and gas space.
The event is positioned as a platform to recognize women making significant contributions in industries where representation has historically been limited.
In Nigeria, women account for over 50% of our population, yet we remain significantly underrepresented in STEM and technical industries. This is the gap we must continue to work to close.
The panel discussion focused on driving diversity and empowering women in the energy sector.
One of the ways of sustaining it is making sure that you have a structure of the people to do that. Because you can just do an impact, and if it's not, you don't have the people. It's really investing people that can take over from where you left and making sure that impact is sustainable.
Taking the decisions to capture value because we're seeing oil prices get close to 150, then come back down. So you have to be able to capture value for your nation and for our company.
After the speeches, the minister is joined by officials of the state-owned oil company to witness a range of training and interactive sessions, including free car diagnostics, expert-led panel discussions, entertainment segments, cooking competition, exhibition, and networking opportunities.
In one of its major shifts towards improving liquidity and investor participation in the domestic capital markets, the Nigerian Exchange Limited, NGX, has extended its daily trading hours from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. According to a statement released by the NGX, the new trading window schedule, which takes effect from Monday, April the 27th, is 30 minutes earlier than the previous 9:30 a.m., while the new closing time has been extended from 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. The capital market operator explains that the change in the trading hour, which has been approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), is expected to enhance market efficiency by giving investors more time to react to information, improve price discovery, and align the stock market with global best practices. Let's bring you some financial market stories. The total turnover of foreign exchange transactions carried out on the FMDQ platform rose by 286.76% week-on-week to $2.16 billion as at April the 17th. The figure represents a 15.42% increase against the $1.85 billion turnover recorded for the week ended April the 10th, which was solely driven by the 19.50% rise in the FX spot transactions. However, for the FX derivatives turnover, it recorded an 87.15% drop, which was solely driven by the $62.03 million increase in FX forwards turnover. In the world of sports, Moroccan authorities have released 3 Senegalese fans from custody after they completed a 3-month prison sentence. They were released from the Al-Ajat 2 prison northeast of Rabat. The fans were part of a group of 18 supporters arrested following clashes at the stadium during the final of the Africa Cup of Nations in January. Morocco was eventually declared champions after a forfeit ruling by CAF. In the English Premier League, Brentford missed the chance to go 6th in the league table after playing a goalless draw against the visitors Fulham at the G-Tech Stadium. Leeds took a huge step towards safety with a 3-0 victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers that puts bottom-side Wolves on the brink of relegation. Adrian Toffet fired home a late winner to extend Bournemouth's impressive unbeaten run after a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Newcastle. Roberto De Zerbi has 5 games to save Tottenham from the unthinkable nightmare of relegation after a costly 2-2 draw against Brighton. In the last game of the day, Manchester United took a massive stride towards securing a return to the Champions League as Matteo's first-half goal proved enough to beat out-of-form Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. New Yorkers and football fans are voicing intense frustration following the confirmation that round-trip train tickets from Manhattan's Penn Station to MetLife Stadium will cost $150 during the 2026 World Cup. This staggering price represents a nearly 12-fold increase compared to the standard $12.90 fare for the 9-mile journey to East Rutherford. Residents have called the hike an embarrassment, especially since the trip takes only about 15 minutes.
Absolute insanity. It's ridiculous. I mean, want to go and see a great game for the World Cup and then, you know, with a much lesser price and then you're getting price gouged.
That's definitely a very high price. Large margin difference. I wonder why they're doing that.
I feel like that's an embarrassment and shaming, and it's taking advantage of the fans, is abusing authority that the sports that we into and that we participate in and come to support, that you would do that to us at an outrageous price like that. That's probably 10 times the amount it just went up.
In Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy says the Strait of Hormuz remain closed until the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports is lifted. It says the continuing U.S. blockade is a breach of the ceasefire and warns that ships approaching the vital shipping channel will be targeted. On Friday, Iran opened the Strait of Hormuz, but U.S. President Donald Trump said the United States naval blockade will remain in force until the transaction with Iran is 100%. He insists the United States won't bow to any form of blackmail.
Pretty good news 20 minutes ago, but it seems to be going very well in the Middle East with Iran. We'll know over a little period of time. We're negotiating over the weekend. And as you know, we have the blockade. The blockade's been very successful. And of equal success has been the 5 weeks before the blockade. The combination was pretty lethal, I would say. So we're going to be knowing very shortly. But we're talking over. I expect things to go well. Many of these things have been negotiated and agreed to. We have a situation, I think, that is going to be very beneficial. And the main thing is that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, and that supersedes everything else. And then if we sign the agreement, then I can give you time somewhere after the signing of the agreement. We'll go in with the RAND. We'll go in with the RAND, and we will take it together, and we will bring it back, 100% of it, back to the United States. If we don't do that, we will get it in a different form, in a much more unfriendly form.
Pompeo has said he's not seeking to debate U.S. President Donald Trump when he criticized tyrants for spending billions on wars in a speech he made recently. The pontiff said the remarks delivered days after a high-profile spat with the U.S. president had been written a fortnight earlier. On Monday, Mr. Trump launched an attack on the first American pope, who has been a vocal critic of the U.S.-Israeli military operation in Iran. He called it a terrible foreign policy. The Pope, who is currently on the tour of Africa, said that a certain narrative that has not been accurate had developed, citing the political situation created by Mr. Trump's comments. And the main news again. The governor of the central bank, Olayemi Cardoso, and the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, said the country has weathered the global economic shocks despite the Middle East crisis. And Bauchi state chapters of the People's Democratic Party and All Progressives Congress failed to reach an agreement on conditions for a possible political realignment. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Akinlami on behalf of the team. Good night.